Bethany Manctalo here. Welcome to our Millwall fan show with some new voices, but the same focus. Just everything Millwall. Enjoy!
Welcome to the 2025-26 season of our Millwall No One Likes Us Talkin's, our Millwall fan show. I'm your host, Eamonn Barclay, and I'm excited to kick off this show with a fantastic No One Likes Us Talking team of Steve Warren, hello.
Hello, Eamonn.
Ted Robinson, hello.
Good evening, Eamonn.
And Dave Hart, hello.
Hello, Eamonn.
And a warm welcome to all our listeners too.
Not everybody likes them, but they don't care.
Well, we're pleased to welcome a guest, and there are numerous engaging Millwall topics to discuss during these exciting and sometimes definitely bewildering times too. First, 3 personalised, signed Brian King biographies of the Lions King have been won. The offering is led by the one and only Jeffster, or is that Jester? No, Jeffster, Jeff Burnage. The 3 winners were drawn last Friday from an amazing number of correct answers. They are Elise Henry from Dorset, Mike Harding from Beckenham, and Rob Woodford, who all I need to say, who walks the walk. We'll be in touch with you, and we'll be asking what your personalised requirements for Brian King to sign your books are very shortly. And I'm sure Jeff will deal with that quite effectively. For now, let's pause for a moment to hear about our sponsor, G&M Motors.
Hi, this is Jess Tuffield from G&M Motors. Operating from a modern and purpose-built facility in Milton Road, Gravesend, G&M Motors offers a complete range of new Honda cars and services. As well as new Hondas, we have an extensive range of used cars, including ex-Motability cars from a variety of manufacturers. Specialising in new Honda cars, G&M Motors has been retailing quality new and used vehicles to the people of Kent and South East London for over 4 decades. We have been a Honda dealership since 1972 and are the country's longest serving supplier of this renowned marque. Conveniently sited just 2 miles from the A2, 10 miles from the M25 and Dartford Crossing, visitors to our showroom are assured a warm welcome from our experienced and friendly staff. Our facilities include an on-site workshop capable of providing full vehicle servicing and repairs, as well as an extensive parts department offering genuine Honda parts and accessories. The expertise of our skilled mechanics is not limited to just Hondas, but extends to most makes and models of motor vehicles. Whatever your motoring needs, visit us at G&M Motors today. The newly extended hours of our G&M headquarters means that you can contact us from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. on weekdays and 9 a.m. till 6 p.m. on Saturdays. To contact us, call us today on 01474 365 026.
Thank you, Jess. Debbie Julian's here. Don't forget to call Jess on 01474 81 3562. G&M Motors have been dear friends with the Julians family for over 4 decades now. From my dad Lenny to me, Debbie, Lions together.
I'm your host, Eamonn Barclay, and with me I have the No One Likes Us Talking team of Ted Robinson, Steve Warren and Dave Hart. A big thank you to our sponsor, G&M Motors. Our guest tonight has consistently appeared on our shows since the time we were on the weekly live Love Sport radio show. A familiar figure who, with his friends, debuted on Love Sport from a curry house where they sang on air. Some of us even joined in, I seem to remember. Johnny Burrow, who was our host, was enthralled by what he heard. And I think, what was going on? Anyway, our guest tonight is the son of a well-known Millwall supporter, Jackie Knight. His grandfather actually knocks out Let 'Em Come on the keyboard of a famous consumer outlet located on Regent Street. Also, hello to Sam Gardiner.
Hello, Sam.
Evening, gents.
Evening, Sam.
Evening, all.
Evening, Sam.
Yeah, we managed almost to get that completely right. That was pretty good then, but in a different way. But I don't mind that.
It was better in rehearsal.
Yeah, it was better in rehearsals. That's what they say, isn't it? But never mind. Sam, Eamonn here,
Hi, Eamonn.
and lovely to speak to you yet again. Or bump into you even as we sort of go down John Berylson Way or anything like that. Anyhow, I was in the studio at Love Sport Radio on the Millwall fan show, as it was called, the night you debuted on the show and sang from us from the Curry House. Can you remember what happened? I'm not sure that you might, but if you can, it'd be lovely to relive that.
Yeah, we was having just with a bunch of the lads that we you go kind of home and away with, bit of a post-season curry. We'd had a pretty good season, and yeah, just having a curry, a few beers, and a laugh. And I remember being on it, and obviously we'd sunk a few. And one of the waiters who'd been very attentive to us, we just said to him, "Fancy singing a song with us?" And let's face it, no one likes it. It's a pretty easy one to follow, and he followed pretty well. And before you know it, there was a couple of them and us all singing, and seemed to go down pretty well.
Well, it did. So Johnny Burrow, who was the professional, dare I say, at Love Sport, he got up and took a copy of that and shared it all round with the other producers. And they were astounded that anyone could get someone to come on to the air and sing a song from a curry house. So it's a memorable moment, and certainly Ted and I really enjoyed it.
It's always best when it's off the cuff, hey?
Yeah.
Yeah, hi Sam, it's Ted here, mate. What I remember of that night, Sam, was that I wish I was with you rather than where I was sitting in that studio. It sounded much better where you was, I've got to be honest. But listen, mate, Alex Nei's come in, replaced the departing legend of ours, it's Neil Harris. What do you reckon of his time with us so far? I know what I feel, but how do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's. I think you'd have to be a madman really to not appreciate pretty much everything Alex Nei's done in terms of rejuvenate the squad, the football we've got that we've seen under him. He's brought real excitement in terms of lots of wingers, really solid from the back. And more importantly, I mean, he's connected with the fan base right away. It doesn't always happen. I was gutted when Neil Harris left. I think like most in terms of club legend, I didn't actually think it was necessarily the best thing at the time, but that was probably my heart. But yeah, he just brought in an air of calmness, and it's a really nice time at the club now. When you've got a fan base that's fully invested in the players, the manager, and vice versa, it brings a really nice aura around the club, and I think that really does help on the pitch. So I can't fault anything Alex Nei's done. I love listening to him speak. I think he's a brilliant tactician. We've seen it many times this season when, you know, the games haven't been going our way, especially in recent times in big away games against the two that we're effectively fighting against, Ipswich and Middlesbrough, where you know, we really were, you know, second best in the first half of both those games, and he spun them on their head against two teams that, you know, arguably have, you know, greater depth, definitely financially better established than us. So yeah, I can't fault him. I think he's the man to do it, and the fact that we're in a position now where we're fighting for second place and the backups to playoffs when we've missed out on the playoffs so many times in recent years is just a testament to the man, his tactics, and where the club's at as a whole.
I think you're right. Everything you said there, Sam, is right. I must admit, it wasn't really my choice at the time, in the sense I wasn't sure about him, but he's gone beyond my expectations, and I must admit he's a fantastic manager. He's also instilled in him a true captain, I believe, in Millwall, and I would like to hear your thoughts on that, because Jake Cooper I think he's been outstanding this year, and he's always gets a bit of criticism from some fans, but do you think that the criticism that Coops has got has been justified? I mean, I think he's the role model and he's the captain. And
let's face it, when you play for a club for 9 or 10 years and you barely pick up an injury, therefore, you know, playing, you know, pretty much 46 games a season, including, you know, not including some cup games and all, you know, you're going to make a mistake or two across the season. And unfortunately, some of them, when your defenders are going to lead to goals, and that's when it's, you know, highlighted more than when a midfielder perhaps loses the ball a few times in the centre of the park. So, yeah, unfortunately, some of our fan base can be quite frustrating at times. They tend to, you know, perhaps dwell too much on a mistake, but you're going to make mistakes. You know, it's, you know, we're not world beaters here. We're Millwall Football Club. He puts his all in. I'm glad that he's got the captaincy. He's been at the club for a long time. He pretty much embodies everything Millwall's about. And I think he's actually got better in recent years, actually, because he's actually become a much better ball player, in my opinion. Driving forward, much more comfortable on the ball. He will pick a pass from perhaps the edge of our box straight into the centre of the midfield, through the lines. So I don't think he really had that in his younger years, and perhaps it was partly the way we played. There were a lot of diagonal balls at the time to Gregory and Morrison, but which also was very effective at the time. Don't get me wrong, but he has obviously had faith, instilled in him that he's more than that, and he's actually, quite astute on the ball, and I think he's certainly not declined in recent years. He's Mr. Consistent. He's effectively call him Mr. Millwall. And do you know what? I'm actually glad. It's taken nigh on 10 years for him to get a song around the a chant around the terrorists for him. I mean, me and the boys were having a giggle recently that Barry Bannon had a song come on for him after about 10 seconds of his debut, and I thought, cool, surely Coops deserves one. It was quite nice to hear that recently.
Yeah, he certainly earned it. But I think people underestimate him as a captain.
Most certainly.
Yeah, he's got a big influence on that team.
I mean, we've got a great mix of depth and youth and experience. So I think people will look up to him. They'll know that he's, especially in the position we're in and what we're trying to go for at the moment. He's been there when we've overachieved, but still just missed out on the playoffs. So he's been there through the hurt. And I think, if you're a younger player or a newer player to this squad, who better to look up to, in all honesty, than Jake Cooper right now?
Hello, Sam.
Hi,
Steve here. We've seen players come and go under Alex Nei's watch. Has this been good business, in your opinion?
I think the business has been some of the best business we've seen in recent years. I think James Berylson is doing his dad incredibly proud. I'll be honest, with the incredibly sad passing of John, naturally you have reservations of what's the next step of, someone else coming in. But I think he's done his dad proud. He's backed the club. They've done what we haven't done in many years and really looked at other avenues, looking into Europe. And, many of the players that we've bought have been, fantastic for us. You look at, Mihailo Ivanovic, let's say, he might not have had as a prolific season. It was last season, I think he scored 14 league goals last season whilst being out for 2 or 3 months. And I think perhaps he's a bit of a victim of his own success this season. But that's still, for me, is a great signing with a player that's going to, only going to get better if we hang on to him and believe in him. Because, you look at that signing when we got him, we got 2 million or whatever it may be, please don't quote me, but he'd scored, I think, 5 goals in the Serbian league and maybe 20 odd appearances. So it looked like a bit of a dubious potential, dubious call, but it just showed that our scouting has been fantastic. It's more diverse, and I think that's been a great fit. You look at Negley; he looked potentially a little bit out of his depth at first, but I think that's just a little bit down to how hard and tough physically the championship could be. But he's come into his own the second half of the season, become a much more all-round player in terms of getting back. I think our recruitment's been brilliant. I really do.
Yeah, I agree. And as I agree with you about Negley as well, he had a slow start, but he's having a fantastic finish. So, I agree with that. But looking ahead now, given our potential for promotion, who knows, we all want it. But if we did remain in the Championship, what type of players should we recruit to bolster the positions where you think we might need reinforcement?
We've seen that Coburn and Ivanovic do have, perhaps, some regular-ish injury problems. And I think you want to have another option for that. Whilst I was a big fan of us bringing in Macaulay Langstaff when we first did, I mean, I think you look at our best strikers in the last 25 years, Gregory, Morrison and Neil Harris, they've all come from non-league. So when that happened and he had a prolific record, I thought that was going to work a little bit better. It didn't quite. I think someone like that, you need a fast start. But I think we're another striker. I think we're in need of a couple of fullbacks, to be quite honest. I think, Zach Sturge, I think there's a player in there. I think Joe Bryan's definitely not what we need moving forward. Whilst I really like Alfie Doughty, especially being a Millwall player, unfortunately, he's injured a lot. So I think someone there. Arguably a goalkeeper again, because we just don't know. Jensen's pretty much been out for ages. Again, he didn't have the best start, but again, I think there's a decent keeper there. But we don't probably not going to keep hold of Patterson. Crow pretty consistent, but as soon as he made a mistake, he was out the team. So I don't know if Alex Nei sees him as his long-term number one. So that could be something that could perhaps be reevaluated. I'll never be shy of looking for another playmaking central midfielder. So yeah, that's probably what I would say. I'm pretty happy with us when it comes to our wingers and the width we have.
Yeah, I think there's some really good things here, and I think you're right. I think we could do with another box-to-box midfielder. I think we're missing one at the minute.
Yeah, I mean, Casper and Billy have done a fantastic job. Billy's improved. Those times where I didn't really think Billy was quite going to be the person that would fill the spot as important as the position he plays, but help us to get to the next level. But he's improving. He's still very young, Billy. But I do still think we're short of a goal scorer in midfield. That box to box. I was a fan of the Bannon signing. I think that'd be a good short-term signing. And again, I think it's a testament that someone who's done so well in the Championship for a number of years, Barry Bannon, and consistently performed well against Millwall as well, is actually being kept out of the team pretty regularly in a starting capacity. So, I'll never begrudge extra midfielders. And let's face it, this season, when we found ourselves in the position of, however unfortunate and unlikely it was, we did find ourselves with no fit midfielders. So, being that it's such a strenuous position, I'll never be against us, really bulking up in that area.
Brilliant. Thank you, Sam.
Hi, Sam. It's Dave Hart here.
Hiya, Dave.
You follow Millwall home and away, and how do you think where we are more potent on our travels than we have been at home? We seem to be stronger away, in my view, anyway. But at home, we've dropped 24 points so far this season.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a little bit more recent, so it's easier to look at that and, and naturally, our away form in the last 6-7 games has been fantastic. But there was times this season where we were on brilliant runs at home. It's just probably a little bit more highlighted now, being that it's the business end of the season. And unfortunately, games where we've done incredibly well away and the following game, whether it be the Blackburn, Portsmouth or Norwich game, it just hasn't materialised for us. And I think every single one of those 3 games, you could tell that the pressure felt different. The expectation was there. Each, against Blackburn, we could have gone top 2, albeit we was incredibly unlucky with that disgusting decision. But it's just a new type of pressure. And being that, a lot of these players haven't been in this position, I can understand it. Whilst I was hoping that we'd come out fast, it's not surprising, unfortunately, that we haven't. These players are fighting for something that a lot of them haven't had in their career. The chance to play in the Premier League. I can't think of any of our squad that have been in this position with a few games to go fighting for top 2. So, whilst it's frustrating, I don't think there's a great deal to worry about. Millwall historically have got a great home record, and I don't think we need to worry too much about. I think if you actually look at our points tally this season, it's pretty much even home and away. So, whilst it's frustrating, I still back us for the remaining games to get the points at home that we need.
Yeah, I thought a little thought I had myself was that these sellout games, you're getting an influx of fans that are not regulars every week, and we seem to be a bit nervy at home, and we weren't getting behind the team first half. But as soon as we start to do something on the pitch and score a goal, that atmosphere suddenly returns. I know we've got a core of Millwall to go every week, but it just seems that with the extra people there, we seem to be a bit quieter.
Yeah, look, don't get me wrong. I'll try and refrain from saying exactly what I was about to say there, but it brings with me a lot of frustration where I sit somewhere that's kind of notoriously, since I've been going as a child, in the East Upper has always been a very good atmosphere. And unfortunately, it's just not quite the same more often than not these days. It can get going, of course, and it does get going. But I would have expected a little bit more in recent games. I understand there's nerves around, but, it's... me and my friends have had a discussion about this on a few occasions. Sometimes the 14,000 fans at the Den can be just as, if not louder, than a packed house, which I think kind of, in some ways, is similar to what you're saying there. Sometimes when it's a full house, I don't know why, but it can be a different atmosphere. Those 14,000 can be just as intimidating. So who knows? It's a toughie. There's so many kind of variables: the nerves, the excitement. But like I say, I've got firm belief that we'll get the points, whether we make it or not in the top two. I believe we'll win the remainder of our home games. So,
well, I would do, Sam. Now let's contrast your performance thoughts on our games against Middlesbrough and Norwich. What are your take on the two games?
Yeah, I mean, look, just going ever so slightly just before Middlesbrough, we started with a formation where with one up top against Ipswich, didn't work. Alex Nei changed it to two up top second half and was fantastic. We changed the game, could have easily won it. I like that he went attacking at Boro with the two up top, but Sod's Law didn't quite work out, changed it, and it worked. And I think based on what he mentioned in the week, Casper Tenore he couldn't get 90 minutes out of, so he just felt that he'd go back to one up top. I mean, I don't think it's anything to do with the player's desire. I don't think it's to do with the tactics of the manager. I think there's a little bit of pressure. We could, it's easier said than done, but an early goal, I think that game could have been very different. We didn't get that. Norwich come out with not a lot to lose, and you could see that by the way they was playing. But yeah, it was a tough one to take because it was just like, a lot of people said, myself included, this could be a typical Millwall, go and get that big result away, and not do what we need to do against Norwich. And, it worked out that way. It's a very similar first half performance to the Blackburn game. And
yeah, absolutely.
But both times we came out second half and scored the first goal. So Blackburn, it was a very disappointing refereeing decision, but we just didn't defend as well as we should have with the goals against Norwich. We got no one else to kind of blame for that. Certainly not the ref in this instance. But again, it's happened. It's a learning curve. Whilst Alex Nei has mentioned that he perhaps thinks some of these early kickoffs or the earlier games, being that we got Friday and a couple of 12:30s, might not be an advantage or perhaps a disadvantage based on less rest time than other teams. I think Friday night works perfectly for us here. I feel confident that we bounce back and go and beat West Brom, and that puts us back in the top two. And whilst that would effectively would give Ipswich 3 games in hand, they've got some tricky games. Norwich have just beaten us. That's who they've got next, which is their big derby away from home. They've still got to play Boro and Southampton, so there's a lot to play for. There really is, and we're by no stretch of my imagination out of this for the top 2 at the moment.
Let's hope you're right, Sam.
Let's hope, eh?
Absolutely.
I always say that, let's be hopeful. Never mind, it'll be all right on the night, all those sorts of things. Sam, I'll back up your idea when perhaps we only have about 14,000. The night we inducted Teddy Sheringham, Pauline Cope from the Lionesses, Alan Dunn and Tony Craig, all 4 of them said the noise in the stadium was out of this world, considering how many fans were there that night. And I thought the same. There's more people ready to shout and roar. And I think you're right. Other than that, we need to get ourselves some drums and all that in there, and then we'll be real. We ain't going to do the drum bit. Okay, then we won't do that. But we'll definitely have to have ringleaders in every block. That's the only way. I see old old Ted is always first up in his block and shouting and hollering. And I think they all get up to keep him quiet. But there you go. That's the way it is.
I've always started a good song or two up in Block 18. And, it's perhaps it's a bit bound to nerves. And I've got no problems, by the way, of, there being what people may call a fair weather fan or a once in a blue moon fan, because you're filling the stadium, you put money to the club. No qualms with it. If you're going to be there, if you're going to be there, and you've got to understand the situation the club's in. Look, fans start at any age in their life, So I've got no qualms if you've got a 35-year-old man who's coming over from France because he wants to see Tristan Kramer, just as an example here, by the way. But if you're going to do it, learn the history, understand that this club's not been in the Championship playoffs for 25 years, understand what it means to the people that are there every week. That's my opinion,
Yeah, I remember there was a bunch of Germans who were down on the Dockers side, down on the left-hand side, on the bottom row.
Yeah.
And they must have bought all the Millwall flags and everything. They never stopped waving and shouting and roaring all game long. I was amazed. But there you go. It is what it is, and hopefully we can do something about it. Sam, I see your sister has got a voice too, as she boosted the fans after the Norwich game. And of course, you have a piano-playing grandfather too. I've never heard your mum sing, but is music and song in the genes?
It's a good job you haven't actually heard me or my mum sing. You've heard me sing, but with, many others in the background. Me and my mum are certainly not the musical ones in the family. And she'll have no qualms with me saying that.
Your sister sings lovely, I tell you.
My sister's got an incredible voice. She absolutely loves Millwall. And it's brilliant. We was in the third dock in Surrey Quays after the game, all feeling pretty down. And she got up, sung Don't Go Chasing Waterfalls. And just being the natural she is, just at the end, she just gave a big meh on the mic and got the whole...
She did it before she started and all,
She did indeed. Before and at the end, she knows how to get the crowd going.
That's great stuff.
She's an amazing kid.
Wonderful to see that going on. Yeah, before you leave us, Sam, we have Ted's Prediction League.
Right.
Ted, as you know, is one of our... well, we do know that. And just for a change, he's here tonight because he's not very often here these days. So I'll pass you over to Ted.
Thanks, Eamonn.
All right, Sam. Just before I get on to the predictions, just to let you know, I've done the corporate for the first time, in my life, I think. So I was sat up in the director's bit the other game. You're talking about making noise. And I was asked whether I really wanted the cushion on my seat because I didn't have my bum on it long enough because I kept jumping up, shouting and screaming. But I'm not sure I'm going to be invited back very soon, to be quite honest. But, football's football to be. But anyway, Sam, coming up with our games, the predictions games this week. Obviously, we're going to start with our beloved Lions away to the West Brom. How do you see that one going, Sam?
Full faith in this squad. Every time we've had some adversity this season, we've pushed back. They will fancy this. Our away record's good, and I think we go up and turn. We'll beat them 3-1.
3-1, not a bad chat. I hope I'll be there tomorrow night, so I hope it is 3-1, I must admit. And then one of the other games that you mentioned yourself, very interesting, Norwich are at home to Ipswich on Sunday, I believe.
1-1.
I was quite impressed with Norwich.
Yep, Norwich look good.
1-1,
often these games, these East Anglian derbies, I've seen them. Very rarely does someone walk away with these games. I also often find you get a 1-0, a 1-1, a 0-0. So I genuinely, bias aside, think that game will be 1-1.
Yeah, and Ipswich had their bit of luck at the weekend with that game against Birmingham. I don't know if you see it.
That never went off.
Ridiculous. The last one, another interesting one, because it's two sides that are battling out for a playoff position, but one side I'm very wary of at this moment in time, Southampton, and they are at home to Derby. If we are in the playoffs, Southampton's not the side I want, but there you go. Southampton at home to Derby. Where'd you see that one, Sam?
I actually think they might slip up now. I can see that one being 1-1 as well. It's just how the Championship goes. It's again, there's a level of expectation on them now. People will be expecting them to go and win pretty much every game. They've got to beat an Arsenal in the Cup. They're looking really good. They won 5-1 in the week. The fans will expect to win, and it just wouldn't surprise me if it was a game where they drop points. I don't think they'll lose, but I wouldn't be surprised if that was 1-1.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. A big game for Derby, but I think Southampton on a roll. I like what you say, because I think Southampton might, when it comes round to their FA Cup semi-final and whatever, I think that's when the games around that, they might be a bit, but not a bad shout, Sam. Thanks.
No worries.
Yeah. Thanks so much for those predictions. There's a chance you might win a prize. However, I've got to say, we haven't got a clue what the prizes are, because since the beginning of the season, Ted has been promising to tell us what the prizes are. Now, how long ago did the season start? I'm not saying he's slack. I'm not saying anything like that. But I know he has moved from one place down to another.
Well, as I've moved down to Whitstable now, it looks like you might have a bag of oysters.
Oh.
If I can get them out to sea early enough before the end of the season.
Yeah, and how are you going to deliver them? What
will do?
On
a boat, yeah. Come up the Thames on a boat. It'd be lovely.
Let's face it, my predictions are right for this week. We should be sitting second come the end of the weekend, so that'd be a nice enough prize.
Well, it would be, wouldn't it? Will you take that?
If your predictions come right, I'll buy you an oyster.
Oh dear. Look,
I'll hold you to that.
Many thanks for joining us.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Wishing you and all your family all the best. Until the next time, it's bye for now, Sam.
See you later, guys. Thanks for having me.
Bye, Sam.
Take care, fellas.
Thanks, Sam.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Sam. Cheers, mate.
Hey, what a character that Sam Gardiner is. Hey, great understanding of the game and Millwall. But for now, we'll take a break and hear from Harvey Brown.
Hi, Harvey Brown here. I am proud of the Lions Food Hub, which is jointly owned by Kelly and Ellen Webster, and they have been supporting families within our community on Millwall match days. If you would like to donate to them, they have a match day donation hub by the SE16 bar at Coldblow Lane, end of the ground, where they accept any food or money and toiletry donations. If you can help, any donations will be received with thanks.
I'm your host, Eamonn Barclay, and with me I have the No One Likes to Talkin team of Ted Robinson, Dave Hart and Steve Warren. Please consider donating at the Lions Centre if you will not be at the match. Ellis Barr has recovered well from her surgery since mid-September, and we hope her mobility improves. Here's Ellis now.
Hello, Ellis here, and I'm glad to be back talking about Millwall. I know many have watched my videos. Thanks for your support along the way. It is now time to hear what all the Millwall teams are up to. Come on, Millwall!
Yeah, well, come on, Millwall. Absolutely, no doubt about that whatsoever. Let's talk about Paul Loding bringing us the Millwall Pride and Millwall Romans update.
Hi, it's Paul Loding at the Millwall Romans with a quick update. So no games at last weekend due to Easter. The weekend previously, Romans travelled to East London again to play Soho FC. Haven't played them at all this season, the bottom of the league. The game went pretty much as we anticipated. Soho, again, no disrespect to them, but they didn't really offer us anything. Once we started scoring, it just kept going, and we managed to finish the game 8-0. The next big game for Romans is a week on Sunday. That's at home to Charlton. Charlton have dropped points now against Stokey. We obviously lost to them in the away game. If we beat them and continue our run, then we have got a very, very good chance of winning the league. We've got 3 games left of the season: Charlton, Stokey, which will be a challenge, and Soho again. So yeah, it's looking good. And prediction-wise for this week, obviously Millwall so close to getting there and then dropping points again. I really, really hope they do it this year. I think it would be incredible to have for Millwall to be in the Premier League, for also be associated with us as an LGBT team, one of the first teams in the Premier League to be able to do that, which would be a phenomenal thing from our side and obviously from Millwall. So really egging the guys on there. So Millwall West Brom, I'm going to say Millwall 2-1. I'm going to say Ipswich Norwich. I'm going to say Ipswich 2-0. Ipswich 2-1, I think, actually. And Southampton Derby, I'm going to say 2-0 to Southampton.
Thanks, Paul. Interesting that you sort of got into a position where you can actually overtake Charlton and take the lead, as well as in the final of the Cup. So that's pretty good. And, Pride could be into the first tier as well. Some really good stuff there. Our Millwall Lionesses were not in action last Sunday, or they're not even in action this Sunday. But on the 19th of April, they will return for an away fixture to Ebbsfleet. Full details will be provided at the end of next week's show. We had a defeat to Norwich, following a massive high of defeating Middlesbrough at the Riverside Stadium. Here's Alex Nei and Mihailo Ivanovic's thoughts post-match.
Yeah, listen, today's a disappointment, but, this team's produced so many good moments, certainly recently, and we need to go to West Brom and try and get ourselves another result. So, the simple fact is, if we'd won today, I'd be saying the same thing. And the fact that we don't win anything today, and we certainly don't lose anything today, obviously it's a bit of a blow. We've lost some points, which is not good, but we've got an opportunity now on Friday to go and try and win the next game.
Yeah, it's always the fans. Fans are brilliant. Away, home, it doesn't matter. They will come, and until the end of the season, I saw it's sold out. So yeah, they will push us until the end, and we will fight until the end.
Yeah, and we need to thank the Millwall FC media team for enabling us to use those clips. Dave, how do you feel about the sentiment shared by Alex and our goal scorer, Mia, as he calls himself?
Alex Nei is being the gentleman. He's never going to run the team down, and he shouldn't do, because they've played fantastic. And as he said, I would have said the same thing. He probably would have said the same, but he would have been a bit more happy about a result against Norwich. So I can understand his sentiments and the way he put himself over. And I think if he carries on in that vein, we'll be on a good footing for the rest of this season and what we have coming in the future. With Mihailo, is a new influx to the team. He's got this atmosphere away, which is always incredible with the Lions when they travel away. And at home, the atmosphere 9 times out of 10 is spot on. So it's a new thing for him. And hopefully, like it's done with a lot of other players, it will spur him on and we'll get much more out of our BFS.
Yeah. Ted, the keyboard warriors hit the social media outlets with some force, threatening never to return again to the den, targeting some players as well, which is not so keen or good. Carl Bates issued a little reality check for some of the keyboard warriors. Norwich City have won 11 of their last 15 games, including 7 of their last 9 on the road. They are seriously in a false position, with great squad depth, changing half of their outfield team for Good Friday. Also, Tony Cascarino highlighted that if we beat Norwich, we were on our way. What do you make of the keyboard warriors and the thoughts of Carl and Kaz?
Well, to start with, Eamonn, have you got the bleeper ready? Because if you want my thoughts on some of these keyboard warriors, you're going to need it. Because I just never understand these people. If you follow I can't believe that they sort of follow Millwall consistently. Because if you do, you would know that coming into that game, Norwich in the form table was actually just above Millwall, or certainly around where Millwall are. Sorry, and this was one I see was going back to November. So they would have actually been, if it started in November, they would have been third from top, and we would have been fourth. Yeah. So they were a good side. It's been since it's the French guy who's come in for a minute, the manager. Yes. He's done what basically Alex Nei done for us, I would say. And so it was never going to be easy on Friday. And some of these people, they feel like whenever Millwall lose a game, they have to blame one player in particular. And, listen, Alex Nei will be the first person to turn around and say we win as a team, we lose as a team, as most people would. But that is the name of the game of the Championship. Every game that we have is a tight game. Every game that you play, the side that you're playing is capable of beating you as you are capable of beating them.
Yeah.
So, you can't get overly down about one loss. At the end of the day, if you'd said to all us Millwall fans at the start of the season, we'll have 5 games to go, you're sitting joint second on points, after we'd stop laughing, we'd say, yeah, we'll have that, because that's where we are. We've got 5 games. It's a 5-game season now to a certain extent.
Yeah.
And, Carl and Cass were quite right to point out. Well, Cass was right in saying if we'd have beaten Norwich, we'd have been on our way, because I think we would have definitely, if you looked at it, if we'd have won that game and got 3 points in front of the others, then all of a sudden they're chasing us and it becomes a tougher game. But when there's 5 games left to go, it's 15 points. It's a lot of points to go. And there'll be twists and turns, all the way to the end of the season. Obviously, we're in a position where we can look at hopefully having a go at getting into the second spot. But in the same breath, we still haven't cemented a playoff spot yet. So I just want, once this weekend goes, providing the team that's in 7th isn't anywhere near us after whatever the results are, fine, because we're another game down and we'll be a bit closer to being secured in the playoffs. But obviously, if we can go to the West Brom and get a win, like Sam was hinting at there, it puts pressure on the others because we're now 3 points in front of them. And it makes if they draw their games on Saturday and Sundays, and Ipswich highly likely to draw against Norwich, I think, then all of a sudden it's a different look to the league table, and we're in more of a shout once again. Yeah. So, I think Cass and Cole, both wise men, know what they're talking about. The keyboard warriors, I wouldn't even bother reading their stuff, to be quite honest.
Spot on. Steve, Craig Wilson warned us about the threat of Norwich's Matheson on our live maritime show last Saturday. He certainly kick-started the Canaries' revival with, well, all I can say, it was an incredible scorcher of a goal. But what did we do well against Norwich, and what do we need to learn from that defeat?
Well, I think before we go there, let's be clear, as we've said earlier on, Norwich are a good team and we don't have the right to win every game. As we've said, they've had an equal, if not better, recent form than we have. And when we won the reverse fixture 2-1, it was a bit unexpected, to be fair. So what did we do well? Well, for a start, we scored the first goal and we put the pressure on them. And it was nice to see Ivanovic back on the score sheet. And to be fair, Coburn nearly got his head to it as well, because he was in there too. And what else we did well is we held them at bay for a long time. They had lots of shots, lots of crosses, but we kept them out. And yeah, although Mattison's goal was a screamer, and it was, both goals were set up by Toure, who they brought on just after half time. And he looked a real handful when he came on, and he was getting in behind our back four. And I think probably we missed Billy or someone to sort of pick Toure up before he gets into that danger area. So, maybe that's a lesson there. I thought we played our game, and essentially we got beat because we were in their area trying to kill the game off, and they ran up the pitch and scored. So I think the takeaway for me is we got there by being tight in defence. We got there by being brave and trying to win games. And I think we should just carry on doing what got us to where we are. We start with a plan, and if it don't work, we change it. We could have made that change in the first half when it was looking a bit iffy, but we were still 0-0. So again, perhaps not. No. And we've got to remember, teams see what we're doing, and they're looking at ways to counter our strengths. Yeah. And probably second guessing Alex what Alex is going to do. Yeah. So I think, just carry on doing what we're doing, and I think it'll be good enough.
Great stuff. Let's be hopeful. Right. Well, this Friday, thanks to Sky's scheduling, we head to the Hawthorns to face West Bromwich Albion. In October at the Den, we secured a 3-0 win over West Brom with goals from Cooper, Aziz and Sturge. I can remember it well. Sturge's goal on the run was just brillo, and so was Aziz. Cooper's was an interesting one, but I won't say no more about that. The Throssels appeared entirely out of sync. They are 4 points above the relegation zone and are eager to improve their points tally, having earned 10 points in their last 6 games. We have lost twice, drawn once and won 3 matches. A victory for West Brom is crucial for their survival. And in fact, former Millwall loanee Jason Malumbi is considered key to their recent improvement, energising the team as captain. Caretaker West Bromwich Albion manager James Morrison notes that Malumbi and Ousmane Diakite have added steel and strength to the midfield. Perfect qualities in a relegation battle, he says. Now, the bookmakers have West Brom at even money to win, a draw at 9-4 and a Millwall win at 3-1. The odds are quite wide. West Bromwich Albion versus Millwall. Steve?
I think West Brom have slowed the rot because at one stage I think they looked like dropping, and they have now put a run together with those 4 draws and 2 wins. I think it'll be difficult to break down. I think they really need the win, as you said. If anything, just to get away from Oxford and Leicester and Portsmouth, who've got a game in hand on them. So I think it's going to be a bit nervy, a bit tight, but I still think we're going to come out 1-0 winners.
Okay. Dave, what about you?
A visit to the Hawthorns is always tight, entertaining game, usually with a few goals. But with them wanting to and needing to win, and obviously we obviously want to win, I think I'll agree with Steve, and I'll go with 1-0.
Okay. How about you, Ted? What do you reckon?
Well, pressure's on both sides to an extent, isn't they? I mean, West Brom, I believe I'm right in saying over the Easter weekend got 2 draws. They was 2-0 up against, refresh my memory, who was they 2-0 up against?
Derby, was it?
Yeah, they finished 2-2, didn't it? But they was 2-0 up. Then they went and got a draw at Blackburn, didn't they?
Yeah.
I don't think they're quite out of their doldrums yet, in the sense of the way that they're playing. And I don't think it's always ideal to have a caretaker manager at this time of the season. And they're at home. And we all know that when you're at home in them situations, you feel the pressure that bit more. I think if Millwall go there and play in a controlled sort of manner like they have done at Middlesbrough and Ipswich, and I think and I'm hoping that he goes with Coburn and Ivanovic, because now Ivanovic scored against Norwich. I'm hoping he has one of these, like a lot of goal scorers do, go on one of these runs. I think we can go there and get a result. Certainly, I've gone for a 2-1 win to Millwall, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed with that one, because it's going to be tough, because all these games now are going to be tough. But if the boys put in a performance like the Ipswich and Middlesbrough away games, I see no reason why we can't come away with the 3 points that we need.
Yeah, let's hope on that one. Well, those are all quite interesting thoughts, and I sympathise with them all and feel very similar about it. And I look forward to seeing how my prediction for a 3-1 win for us turns out. But now it's over to you again, Ted. Deal with the rest of the predictions.
Okay, Eamonn. Well, we'll start off with the. I'm not sure how this is a derby, but it's Norwich versus Ipswich. It's probably the widest derby going in a sense, but they are in the same sort of area of the country, aren't they? So we start off with Steve. Steve, how do you see that one going, mate? Norwich versus Ipswich.
I think Norwich look good. I think they continue to look good, and I think at home they're going to win that 2-1.
2-1. Dave, how do you see it?
Yeah, I'll agree with Steve. I'll say it's going to be a Norwich win. I'll go a bit tighter than that. 1-0.
1-0 to Norwich.
2-1, I'm going for that one. Yeah, Norwich win.
Norwich as well, yeah? Well, I'm a little bit like Sam. I think it's a derby. It means so much to both sides, regardless of what position Norwich is in. I would love a Norwich victory, but I can see this being a 1-1 draw, so I've gone for 1-1. And the other one, as I was saying to Sam earlier, Steve, we'll start with yourself again, is Southampton at home to Derby. Southampton's certainly on a roll, but Derby ain't doing bad neither at the moment.
Yeah, I think Southampton at home, I think they're going to win that, and I think that's going to be 2-0. And as you said earlier on, I don't want to see them in the playoffs, so let's try and get second.
Yeah. My thoughts exactly, Steve, without a doubt. Dave?
Yeah, this shadow of Southampton lurking in the background is plays in your mind a bit. So I'm going to go a bit narrower than that. I think it's going to be a 1-0 win for Southampton.
1-0 Southampton. Eamonn?
I'm going for a draw on that one because I think I saw Derby come back against West Brom and they look quite powerful in that. And I think they're a team on the rise, Derby, if I'm honest. So I'm going for a 1-1 draw.
Yeah, Derby got a good manager in that, John Eustace, but I see they lost the big fella up front, that Adji man.
Yeah.
He's out for the rest of the season, done his Achilles. So that's a bit of a blow for him because is it Carlton, Norwich, the other one they have up front? But he's a bit injury prone.
Yeah.
But I get what you mean, Eamonn, with Derby. But I just think Southampton are on such a roll at the moment. I've gone for a 2-1 win with Southampton. And like I said to Sam, I think Southampton's dodgy time might come around when the FA Cup semi-final comes about, that sort of time. But, yeah, I think Southampton will win this week 2-1.
Okay. Thanks for that, Ted. Well, we also have a prediction from Nick Wythe of the Facebook Millwall Sicily site. Let's hear what Nick predicts.
Hi everyone, my predictions are West Brom 1, Millwall 2, Norwich 1, Ipswich 1, Southampton 3, Derby 1. Thanks a lot.
Well, thanks, Nick, and thanks to you, Dave Hart, for taking the time to compile the results even, not the results. It'd be nice if you could compile results, and create the table. Your effort means a lot to us, and we truly appreciate your hard work. We'll take a break there and listen to Bethany talking about the Millwall Community Trust.
The Millwall Community Trust is located at the Lions Centre, Ballina Road, London SE16. Each year it delivers a wide range of football and sports development programmes to thousands of young people from toddler soccer to professional pathway across different ages, genders and abilities. Check out the Millwall Community Trust website.
I'm your host, Eamonn Barclay, and with me I have the No One Likes Us Talking team of Ted Robinson, Dave Hart and Steve Warren. And soon we will have Jason Vincent on the show, General Manager for the Millwall Lionesses, so that'll be interesting. We're all looking forward to the next game, but in the meantime, here are a few matters of interest for Millwall fans and those interested in football.
Overseas Lions fans can stream Millwall fixtures for £10 with a match pass. You get multiple angles of action live, including replays with full match commentary. Check out our streaming passes above, including annual live video subscriptions for international fans, audio passes for UK-based supporters, and subscriptions to Millwall TV Plus, the home of Millwall video content.
Next week, Eamonn will host Jeff Burnage, Craig Wilson, and me, along with a guest or two. As a reminder, on Saturday match days, No One Likes Us Talking Gary Staff offers match previews, half-time analysis, and a match report on Maritime Radio at 96.5 FM through their website and on DAB across South East London and North West Kent. During the week, the breakfast show features reports from 7 a.m, including coverage of Millwall Lionesses and Millwall community issues.
Our Millwall Community Trust is hiring a community football coach. The role holder will work with the MCT's dedicated community football team to create a stronger, safer and more inclusive environment for young people in the community by delivering a high-quality youth-orientated sessions and engaging with young people from diverse backgrounds. Get a full job description and your application form on the Millwall Community Trust website.
I'd also like to add that if you go to the Millwall website, you can vote for the Millwall Supporters Club Player of the Season, and you can do that online as long as you are logged into the system. So please go along and select who you would like to be the Millwall Supporters Club Player of the Season. Tune into No One Likes Us reports from our games, home and away, for the Lions, Lionesses, Romans and Pride. You'll also receive updates on Millwall community topics too, from us and through Maritime Radio, available on 96.5 FM, DAB or via their website. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, X, formerly Twitter, for those that still haven't realised that's what it is now, YouTube, Spreaker, Maritime Radio podcasts, and all major podcast platforms. Well, thanks for being on the panel tonight, Dave.
Thanks, everyone.
And thank you, Ted.
Cheers, everyone, again.
Yeah. And thank you, Steve.
Thanks, Eamon, and thanks, everyone.
And a big thanks to you all for tuning in. Finally, let's not forget to keep it safe on the streets out there. Bye for now.
Yes, sir. Let them come, let them come, let them come. Let them all come down to the den. Let them come, let them come, let them come. We'll only have to beat them again. It's the best team in London, you're the best team of all. Everybody knows us, we're called Millwall. Let them come, let them come, let them all come down to the den. It's Saturday in Cold Blow Lane. We've all come down to cheer. We've had our jelly deals and our glass of beer. Come rain or shine, our families will bring. And as the Lions run on the pitch, everyone will sing. Let them come, let them come.
Courtesy of Andy Petman's latest jam-style reggae version. It's quite good, actually, that one.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
I thought I'd done really well there.
Our Millwall Fan Show is sponsored by G&M Motors of Gravesend, Honda dealers and much more. Thank you.